Hello, Tom Lemecchia here with the latest edition of the Armchair NBA. Almost slipped up. Episode 3. So just to follow up on my review of Jose La Piedra, it is a nice smoke out of Cuba, a Cubano cigar. It's kind of like a little bit darker than a Connecticut shade. Let me make sure. And it's a light smoke, not too heavy, not too tobacco-y, if that makes sense. And I really enjoyed it. Jose L. Piedra, I put it on the Shortz. I wanted to share a review. So definitely a nice light smoke, a good afternoon cigar, maybe a morning cigar if you smoke that much. Could be a good after dinner cigar with a coffee and the like. Not going to satisfy your craving if you're like a hardcore tobacco smoker. Also, it's a little hard to get being from Cuba. So I rated an NBA score of 7.8. I liked it. I have an affinity for Cuban cigars. Will I go the extra effort to purchase it over maybe a Nicaraguan, maybe a Connecticut DR cigar? The answer is no, but I rated a 7.8. And that is, again, Jose El Piedra out of Cuba. So with that being said, today's episode is we're going to look at and dissect the top mob shows on MobTube and give you the skinny on what they are making. So first, we're going to start out with probably the most rawest show out there, Sammy The Bull. And to give you the resource, I'm using Social Blade. So we're going to talk a little bit about each show briefly. But me being an MBA, I'm data driven, go through the numbers and get into the juicy stuff of what these guys are making. This is all public information. This is all projected, not guaranteed, not written in stone, and does not include super chats. So at this point, Sammy The Bull's channel has about 415,000 subs, which is a lot. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of the YouTube world, but if you notice, a lot of views for 415,000 subs. His trajectory is a little low. He's losing a little slubs in terms of growth. But what does Sammy make on a monthly and yearly basis? Well, first, let's go through the average views per day. His average views is about 161,000 views. And to give you guys some context, pretty simply, you get paid about $4 to $5 per 1,000 views, depending on what ads serve up, etc. There's a whole complicated formula. But for today's purposes, you're going to make about $4 to $5 per 1,000 views. So according to his current earnings, Sammy could make between 1.2 to as much as almost 20,000 a month. I tend to take about the 60th percentile. So I would venture to guess he probably comes in the $12,000 to $13,000 range, probably raking in about 150,000 a year gross. Now, remember, we're just covering gross numbers here. And that does not include, production costs and net, which are a lot. He has a high production show. He has his other podcast on Spotify and audio. The revenue stream for audio is not as good. You don't get paid unless you have some sponsorship or unless you have some type of development deal. So that covers Sammy The Bull. Next up, obviously, Michael Franzese. He was on my New Theory in 2017. I'm working to get him on the Armchair NBA. And he has the most subs at 692,000 and at 61 million views. Now, with Michael, his trajectory is going up. 17% increase in subs over the last 30 days versus the previous 30 days. But believe it or not, his average viewership is similar to Sammy's. And Sammy's actually probably doing a little better in terms of overall views for the number of subs versus Michael, who I love, has a lot more subs, but he still has decent viewership. Similar here, probably close to about 12 to 13,000 a month, as well as probably close to about 150 to 180,000 a year. Again, he has not as good production value as Sammy, but very strong production value. So typically you would hire a videographer. Typically at that level, they will do the videos as well as the editing. And he's probably in for a few hundred bucks per episode on production. Again, which he's a smart business guy. So it is profitable for him. He also leverages his resource for some backend stuff. Just like Sammy, you have a Patreon as a way to monetize. You have merch as a way to monetize, and both Sammy and Michael do a good job. I'm not going to focus on the ancillary monetization today. I'm just focusing on the views and who the big dogs are. Just want to let you know, I Googled top mob shows. I wanted to go by a trusted resource. I didn't want to be subjective, and I didn't want to give my own opinion on who we should analyze. So if there's any shows you want me to analyze below that I miss, let me know. Next up is not one that I knew too much about. It's getting served up some bra, and I guess maybe my fiance was on my computer or somebody, but I'm getting served up bra ads. With that being said, Bloodletters and Badmen. This is one around 100,000 subs, 30 million views. The thing with this, though, it's been around a while, and looks like they kind of slowed down on their posts, but they have some great legacy content. So in terms of Mafia channels, it's been around since 2014. They cover Jimmy Burke, Lefty Guns, Paul Varrier, Tommy DeSimone, and each have over 500,000 views. This popped up. I was not aware of this. It was pretty cool for me to check. If you are into this stuff like I am, this is definitely a channel to check out. And again, people wonder why. Well, why don't you keep your catalog up? Well, we didn't get nearly the amount of views that this guy did, or gal, and the subs. And what happens is when you stop, they drop. So there's really no economic reason for keeping up older episodes. And this is an example for that. So they probably just come in around $500 a month, around 6,000 per year. Just probably keep it up to keep it up. But they're not really putting up new ones, but it's definitely worth checking it out. So the dubious distinction next, Mafia Truths with John Alite. You rebranded a few times. People are going to probably find this interesting. Again, does not include sponsorship and Patreons, but Johnny Alite comes in, and he obviously slowed down his posts. So his subscriber count kind of has not really increased too much, only 300 over. Wherever you see a negative here, it means they removed video. So maybe they removed a video or two, and this is a net number. Even though, despite not posting much, he does average about 320,000 views a month. And in terms of earnings, probably looking at about 800 to 900 a month, and probably in around 10,000 per year on YouTube alone. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot of money in terms of like the amount of effort, but again, there's Patreon sponsorships and the like. So again, that's kind of where the ball falls for John. Next up is the Real Gambino Family. This is another channel that's out there. They cover obviously more like an audiobook play and a mafia book narration. Each video length is about 1 to 2 hours, which is good. So it kind of gives an abridged version. And and then they also like kind of rotate. So they have been around since 2012, a smaller channel and around 36,000 subs, and has just south of 10,000 videos. But again, a channel worth checking out, especially if you're into learning about the Gambino family. Comes in around just shy of 1,000 a month, probably about 12,000 a year. Coffee with Colada has changed over to MobLog. Rest in peace, Frank Colada. He was gaining steam prior to his death. I believe, unfortunately, he passed from COVID. And then again, it looks like that kind of had a little bit of effect on the trajectory of the channel, obviously. So they went over to MobLog with 30,000 subs, and just not much in terms of earnings, just probably a few hundred a month or 3,600 per year. They were doing obviously a much better when Frank was alive. I think they try to kind of pivot into a generic channel. And unfortunately, from a business perspective, whoever owned the channel looked like they didn't pivot too successfully from a business and numbers perspective, but still respectfully get some views. This is one that I checked out that I find interesting, Mooney Dash Cam. If you guys check this out, I think it's been around a while in terms of the channel, and he drives around different spots and he covers different mob genres. So in terms of growth, it looks like it's off a little bit on growth, but does have about 23,000 subs. What does Dash Cam make? A few $100 a month, about just shy of probably $35,000 to $4,000 a year. Not big money, but probably loves doing it. Get some recognition, and I think has an excellent channel. I think this is probably one of the most underrated channels out there, and that's Mooney Dash Cam. Rounding out the bottom two in terms of the list was Mobfax, Only the Facts. This is a channel that's been around since 2010, has about 20,000 subs or 4.2 million views. Probably makes in the ballpark of about $1,000 a month on views, probably closer to about 12 to 13,000 per year. It looks like probably removing some content there. That's why you see the negatives, and comes in around 100,000 views a month, if a week, I'm sorry. So 400,000 a month. So whenever you see 100,000 views, probably made about $400 off it. So maybe in the neighborhood of $1,600. So people think there's a lot of money in YouTube. There's not. So I'm just kind of giving you the straight facts, no pun intended, and then Mobfax, that's what they earn. The last is probably, I don't watch as much MobTube as you would think. Pretty busy guy. I've been in some of the chat rooms lately. I appeared on Fatball Sicilian show, great show. I think I'm reach out to him, hopefully have him on. I was on Vinny the Brooklyn guy, a super small channel, but great guy. Check out that channel. I'm looking at Vinny on here as well. But one of the channels that I don't miss whenever it posts is OC Shortz. James really does a nice show. Sorry, James, I don't know if these numbers are right, but I'll just share what's public. And hopefully I give your account justice. So he is around just south of 21,000 subs, 3.2 million views. Probably comes in the ballpark around $1,000 a month in earnings, and then probably comes in around 13,000 a month a year in current earnings under the current trend. The nice thing with him, he's growing. So this is great. So you see literally almost 100 new subs a day. So his trajectory is really, really nice in terms of growth. His video volume is increasing, and I believe was a guy that's been around a little bit, and then he kind of hit the right content in this genre at the right time. So that's my list of what MobTubers are making. And just a few notes. If somebody has a super chat and you donate, YouTube, the real mob takes about 30%. And then if they have a Cash App, that's a better way if you have a Cash App to support your creator, because they take much less. I think it's just around 3%. So super chats are great. I don't think anybody wants to turn them down, but a way to support your creator is by going ahead and saying, hey, let me go ahead and give you a super chat. If you take 30% or stickers, and then if you decide to give a Cash App, it's only 3%. Also, if they have merch, go on to their site and purchase merch. That's always helpful for your favorite program. And then lastly, there's memberships like Patreon. Patreon takes about 15%. And I don't love the model. It's called a freemium model. You give kind of free content on your site, but you pay extra for the Patreon. Some do that as well. I don't knock people for how they monetize their channel. They have a right to monetize their channel. And that's kind of the situation for MobTube. If I miss any major shows that you guys watch, drop the link below. I could maybe do another episode if you guys like it. And I did this at the request of the audience. So this is Armchair MBA episode 3. Got a great week of content coming up. I'm not going to say who yet. I want it to be some surprises, but we have some cool stuff cooking. And I'll speak to you guys soon.